I will call the meeting to order. First item is review and approval for the minutes from our previous meeting.
I had nothing. I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes as presented.
No, you won't. But you will in a minute. I just want to make one just clarification, not a mistake, but line 129. In parentheses, it says moving the fire truck elsewhere. Just to make it clear, can we say moving the antique La France fire truck elsewhere? Because it's not a truck that we use. It's not like we're taking one of our usable trucks and throwing it out in the parking lot. It's
Right.
It's an antique truck just parked there. And I know it's used for storage and they have their coats in it, but we already talked, right? Perfect. All right, that was the only thing I had. Tammy, did you want to make a motion to accept?
Yes, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Minutes, and then we had a non-public session for that night, and I'll make a motion that we accept the non-public minutes for the 13th, November 13th.
I'll second.
November 6th.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, next on the agenda is the second and final hearing that we're required to have on the proposed purchase or proposed sale of the town-owned land in the industrial business park. Just to recap, yeah, you want to hand those to? Just to recap, the town has been offered $68,200 for lot number 18 in the small business park. A deposit of $1,000 has been made, with the balance due at the closing. This offer is subject to the seller of this town verifying the four corner pins of the subject lot. The buyer is to pay the full New Hampshire real estate transfer tax and the cost of the deed preparation. There was a request as part of the offer that the town of Lincoln agrees to grant the buyer a recorded right of first refusal for lot number 4, the adjacent lot. The Board of Selectmen voted to delete that provision, so it's not in the counter offer that we're looking to sign. The buyer's offered purchase price includes a 6% commission payable to Coldwell Banker Lifestyles at the time of the transfer of title. The offer is subject to an appraisal conducted by and at the expense of the town of Lincoln, with results satisfactory to the town. If the price is acceptable to the town and the buyer is duly notified, this contingency shall be satisfied. If the appraisal is not acceptable to the town, meaning the appraisal is in excess of the price offered in the agreement, the buyer will have the right of first refusal to accept the appraised value or terminate and otherwise withdraw off this offer and receive a full refund of any deposited funds. The offer is subject to the satisfactory review and comment period by the planning board on or before October 25th, 2023, and that's been done. And review and comment to be acceptable to both parties. The offer is further subject to satisfactory review and comment period at public hearing scheduled for November 6th and November 20th in the presence of the select board, with said review and comment acceptable to both parties. If there's any objection raised at the aforementioned review and comment periods, the result of a change to this agreement that is not acceptable to the buyer reserves the right to terminate this agreement and receive a full refund of any deposited funds. And with that, I will open the hearing up for any comments on this final hearing regarding the land sale. There being none, I will close the public hearing. And it looks like we will move forward with that sale, again, depending on the appraisal. And while we're talking about this, that's been ordered.
The appraisal was done. It was done last Tuesday. Yep. Tammy met the appraiser on site. We have yet to hear back the results or
Okay.
of reevaluation, but it has been conducted. Tammy can probably chime in, but I believe they were able to find 2 pins out of the 4. So we might need Steve Tower to go out and identify the remaining pins for us. But other than that, we should hear back soon. I imagine just because of Thanksgiving. This week.
Okay. Well, last meeting, we talked about the board sending a letter from the board to real estate brokers, notifying them of that recent change in the provisions related to the lots at the business park. I sent a draft copy of that around. And again, I left a big X mark where the appraisal information is, so we're not gonna do anything with that until we get the appraisal back, but that was a suggestion made by Paul Bowden, and it was a good one, and we'll get that sent out once we get that information back and can complete the letter, so.
The only comment I did have
Yeah.
on what you sent out, and I don't know if we'll talk about this at the next meeting, but in the last paragraph or the second to last paragraph, you said a 6th lot. That just confused me.
I don't have it in front of me. but
It says
this
a
5
6th lot in the business park is under agreement to be
Right.
sold.
So we own 6 lots today.
Okay,
I'm not notifying them that we have 6
got it.
available.
Okay.
We only have 5 really available.
Okay, got it.
That 6th lot is under contract.
That,
That's what we just-
yeah,
yeah.
that makes more sense.
Okay.
Okay,
Does that need to be? Look at the language, and if we can clarify that,
Okay.
make it, I mean, if it's not clear to you, it might not be clear to the real estate.
okay.
Anyway,
I get what you're saying now, though.
okay.
Okay.
I had the same thing highlighted,
Oh.
that it makes sense to me either. Sounds like we've sold 6 lots or going to be selling the 6th lot.
Jack and I knew what we were saying. Let's clarify that, because if 2 of you, you know what I'm trying to say, so just let's reword that.
Okay, we can, yeah,
All right,
I'm
Rena,
sure
you
we'll
go to
tweak it, yeah.
wordscaping.
Okay.
All right. So is there anything else on that
No,
issue then? Let's move forward, obviously, as soon as we get the appraisal. Can you, when you get that, instead of waiting till the next
Yeah,
board,
forward
forward it, so we can.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yes, okay. Next on the agenda is the acceptance of a highway block grant. When I saw this on the agenda, it seemed odd because it's always in the 35-ish thousand range. And anyway, I'll read the letter. This is regarding a Lincoln special one-time highway payment in accordance with House Bill 2, payment for maintenance, construction and reconstruction of class 4 and 5 highways. The following is notification of a one-time highway payment being made available to your town in state fiscal year 2024, based on the passage of House Bill 2, effective June 2023. House Bill 2 directs the department to divide and distribute a $10 million one-time payment between all New Hampshire municipalities based on the distribution methods of Block Grant A apportionment A. This one-time payment is separate from your regular quarterly payments, which is the 35-ish.
Yeah.
This one-time payment, November 2023, the November 2023 actual payment is $9,008.18. In generalized This one-time highway payment is based on the municipality's mileage of class 4 and 5 highways, as well as the municipality's population. And please contact us if you have any other questions, and that's from the New Hampshire DOT. So that's why we're voting to accept this
Additional.
small
Right.
amount that's in addition to the amount we usually get, and we get it quarterly. And we don't usually vote on it because it's voted on it.
It's usually voted on at town meeting. If we're over $10,000, we have to hold a formal public hearing, but because it's just under the $10,000 mark, we can, just do it at a.
Okay.
regular
And
scheduled
that goes
time.
into our regular operating,
That goes into our highway.
Highway.
Yes, we have a separate accounting for that.
I think that fund, you could hold the money from year to year as opposed to regular operating account.
Well, you can, it's technically non-lapsing, but our auditors, the state would like you to spend it in your calendar year. There are
Okay.
4 purchases, so. A balance, and our auditors have suggested that we start drawing some of that down because we were 18. And so Nate used those funds for the vehicle this year, his new big truck. And has drained a good amount out of that account. So this
Okay.
kind of just puts us back into having a small balance, but a healthy balance.
Okay. Can we use that for purchase of materials like salt and sand?
Yes,
I know typically we don't.
typically we don't. If we had to, they don't want it to be used for stuff that you generally already have in your operating budget.
Okay.
They want it to be
Okay.
for capital items or things that are above and beyond, like special projects or whatnot. So we've been using it for capital items that have come up. I think Nate used some for the sidewalks a few years ago, updating the radar signs or the light signs, the blinking signs. He used that. So it's supposed to be supplemental to your operating budget, not to reduce your operating budget.
Okay.
Motion to accept that.
I would love a motion to accept that.
I'll make said motion. Accept the $9,821.
And I'll second it.
Okay. And is there any public comment? This is a public hearing. Was there anybody not want to say? Then all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. And then we can move on. Let's do the town manager's report.
Sure. So the first thing on my town manager's report, was the shared use agreement with Loon Mountain. As of when, this report was written, we had yet to have a, agreement on the indemnification language that came in to me this afternoon. There's a copy of it in your packets. Tammy, I did not, email it, but I will email it out after this meeting for the board's review.
Okay.
I think Jason's reviewed it, Loon's attorneys have reviewed it. This is the agreement that both attorneys, both parties are comfortable with. And that was really the only hangup, other than the revisions that we suggested last time. Loon was fine with all of them. So,
Okay.
And the big, if I remember correctly, the indemnification was us indemnifying Loon employees and providing workman's compensation and coverage for them.
So
In our conversation, we were, and Jason was going against that.
Yeah, we have changed the language now, so essentially, town employees would fall under the town's workman's compensation, Loon employees would fall under Loon's workman's compensation. If Loon causes any damages, directly causes any damages, Loon could be held responsible and vice versa. It just cleared the language up. I guess the language that was originally proposed is a standard contract that they use with all their private contractors or subcontractors that work, within their special use permit. So, like I said, our attorney made some suggestions, their attorney made some suggestions, and they came to a reasonable agreement. So those are in your packets, and Tammy, like I said, I'll make sure to forward to you before I forget. Okay, so we were notified, I know.
This is a big one.
This is a big one. We were notified last week that our current vendor for the fireworks show is unable to accommodate any out-of-state shows on the actual 4th of July, which this year falls on a Tuesday. They are asking if we would be willing to move our show to Friday the 5th or Wednesday the 3rd, or technically any alternate date that we could agree upon. But that they would not be available on the 4th. So, I'm bringing this to the board because, and I know it's a two-town decision, essentially. Woodstock also, shares in the expense for the fireworks show. And I think it is, something that needs to be discussed, because I don't think it's just as easy as saying yes or no.
What about, looking at another vendor?
We definitely could put it back out to bid, or looking at different vendors. I mean, that is a possibility. We would have to start that immediately. I know that the current vendor we have puts on a really great show, and it's really well received in the community. So I guess that is the hangup.
We have a multitude of local residents in the audience here.
Right.
I'd like to hear what they might think about moving the date. Jim, you've been around a long time.
I guess it wouldn't matter to me. I don't know if it would matter to all the tourists that were on the field. That would be the big thing.
Jim, that was my thought too, that we're not your typical residential community, veteran community that you're just catering to we are a local resort population, and it's right, if people.
Because I'm here anyway,
Right.
whatever day you're gonna have,
So
they're here just particular day.
I would think then, Greg, did you want to say something?
I think people are gonna be here for the weekend, so if it had to be Friday, a terrible situation.
That's where I would be best, like you said, because the tourists would come in maybe the day before, get set up, look for something to do on Thursday, and then be around for the fireworks for the full weekend.
I guess the question is, are you gonna move the parade so it all coincides?
The parade and the barbecue.
And the barbecue.
And band
right.
concert.
Yeah.
It's kind of a flow for the whole
It is a
day.
flow. I don't disagree, but breaking it up might be kind of nice too. We know we have some local residents that put on their own shows on the 4th, so.
Oh, God, now you're encouraging it. You know, I think that there are a lot of other tourist towns, and the tourists, I think, are pretty used to, you know, Bretton Woods, Waterville, Quantico. Sure. I mean, some of them do it on the 3rd or the 5th. Some of them will do it on a Saturday
Absolutely.
if it's, you know, close. So I don't think, you know, the tourists are gonna find out when it is, and they're gonna show up. It's part of their 4th of July weekend. I'm more afraid of some of the locals that have been here before us, when we, you know, we've talked about the dates and all, that it has to be on the 4th. I'm more like Jim. It's like, I'm here on the 3rd, and I'm here on the 5th. I'm gonna go no matter what night it is.
Just because we've used this vendor, I don't know how many years.
I don't know either. I think the last 4.
Windstorm, we've used them for the past 4 years.
They wouldn't
We
get
get
that one out there?
Oh, yeah, well,
That's not to say
what I
that,
said,
right, yeah,
suggested,
right.
And we look around.
Yeah.
I mean, this,
Look around.
the company that has had this contract has put on great shows. I've heard nothing but positive things. The length of the show, the different, you know, items that, different types of fireworks that do explode. So consequently, you know, we should look with somebody else for the 4th, because of all the other parts that go along to this, production. But if we can't, I would suggest that we go with the 5th, you know, that Friday.
And I guess my concern is that if we decide to go with a new vendor, right? We want it on the 4th, we wanted to go with a new vendor. What if we cannot find another vendor that can accommodate us on the 4th?
I think we look for a new vendor for the 4th of July fireworks, because the 4th of July fireworks should be on the 4th of July. If we cannot find another vendor, then we cross that bridge when we come to it. However, we are jumping the gun because we have another town that pays for half of this that should also weigh in on this decision.
We have made them aware, and we told them that we were gonna bring it up this evening and discuss it.
Okay.
How about if we said, okay, let's take 3 weeks? Put feel, no,
No,
They told me they have to do first come, first serve, so they're not gonna guarantee the fifth, because it affects other people too, other communities, so I'm just worried we're gonna lose out. and
Well,
have
we're-
nothing.
while we're waiting, they're gonna book out.
Absolutely, this is when they book.
they're gonna book out the
The
fifth, and then we're gonna be stuck with the third or the Saturday or.
Well, didn't we had a signed contract with these folks. I think the fact that they are breaking the contract should entitle us to 2 or 3 weeks to do a little bit of searching.
It's an annual contract, Tammy. There's nothing that extends it into 24.
So the price that they gave us last year to budget with for this year, knowing that we always have it on the 4th of July, it just means nothing to this company.
They're honoring the price, but again, they're not contractually obligated to do it on the 4th.
Gotcha. I still think we need to have the 4th of July fireworks on the 4th of July. I don't disagree that this company's been fantastic. They do a great job. They put on a great show. However, the Lincoln Woodstock 4th of July fireworks have always been on the 4th of July. We postponed the parade one year. Now, the 4th of July was on a Friday, and it rained cats and dogs, and I mean rained cats and dogs. So we postponed the parade till Saturday, a weekend day, Saturday, and it was beautiful and sunny and gorgeous out, and they just about nailed us all to a tree. I mean, they came out with their pitchforks and were not happy. And that was a rainy Friday postponed to a Saturday. So the 4th of July activities need to happen on the 4th of July. Our locals have
Right, there was,
brought that to us time and time again, that's what our local folks want.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's not an easy discussion to have. I mean, it's not an easy.
I mean, there's only a handful of companies that do this in New Hampshire, correct?
Correct.
Like half a dozen at the most,
At most,
at the most.
At the most, right?
Um,
and we had a different company maybe 6 years ago, and, I heard about it. People were not happy,
well, I remember that.
okay, so.
I mean, that's not to say that we couldn't find another vendor, but it does leave us in a, I don't disagree. I mean, I don't disagree with Tammy. I like the 4th of July being the 4th of July. It's the 4th of July. You don't change Christmas, but I also understand that, other communities do it. And just because we've never done it before, doesn't mean it's not the best option for what we're presented with. So I am indifferent on the decision.
Jane, do you have a list of other companies within the state or without the state? Because so obviously some companies like this companies travel over state lines. They just get a permit from fire marshal or whomever they get it from. So consequently, can we give those companies a call tomorrow?
I don't have a list, and I'm not back till Monday, but,
I mean, we could start putting that together, but
that list is.
Loon had spectacular fireworks display this last spring. I don't know, it's been in March. I don't know who they
We
did.
use the same company,
Same
that's how I
company.
found it.
Okay. They were,
Yep, we agree with you.
I can get to it.
yeah, I mean, we can definitely look into it, but it's gonna be,
Okay,
It's
and,
a time.
and the second question is, does Woodstock meet tomorrow night or a week from tomorrow night?
I think they need tomorrow night. I asked Judy, I didn't get a response, but I said, please bring it to them ASAP. So we can all figure it out.
yeah,
I mean, if we could get, and if someone said, yes, we can do it. And this would be the price. If we could get it to them by tomorrow night before their meeting, I would, yeah, I know, that's really quick. I was hoping to be a week from tomorrow.
I mean,
But-
we can take a week, like I said, we can take her,
Can we take 3 days at least to contact and hopefully hear back? And if you get a no, and a no, like, let us know and maybe we just go forward with the fifth.
We have to, because of our procurement policy, we have to go out to bid. It's over $15,000. So we're gonna have to pull at least 3 bids in, hopefully.
hopefully.
It's like. it's
The difficulty is gonna be that this is Thanksgiving week, you know, we're not gonna
Well,
have,
that's the
you
thing,
know,
that's- you're
we're
right.
not gonna have an answer most likely until early next week. We could start making phone calls tomorrow, I mean, I'd be willing to make as many phone calls as I can, but
Again, I'm thinking that's gonna be 4 or 5 phone calls.
Mhm.
How about if we work, see what we can do tomorrow? And even Wednesday and. I mean, I would be in favor of moving it to Friday if we can't get a commitment at a reasonable price from an alternative company before Thanksgiving. Because you're right, if we wait, I mean, there's gotta be a bunch of other towns
yeah, I
that,
imagine
I mean, they do more than Lincoln on the July 4th.
they do,
So if they're gonna do none of those, they're all gonna be out
going for July 5th.
calling these companies or going for July 5th.
So I think sooner than later, I mean, even if we don't wait for another meeting, we can get it, and then give us a call, we can come in, like a vote.
Just put it in her hands.
Okay, put it-
Yeah, like, yeah,
Okay.
no, it's not going in my hand.
I do if it's not-
That decision.
I mean, my suggestion is, if you don't get anyone who can do it on the 4th, before Thanksgiving, commit to these people on the 5th. If you can get multiple companies to come in on the
On the
4th,
4th,
use your judgment.
right,
Check, you know,
Yeah.
not just the best price, but
Right.
quality. But no matter what we do, we're gonna have to run it by
by
Woodstock.
Woodstock, correct.
Yes,
Personally, I think I would sacrifice maybe having, I don't wanna say a lesser quality show, but maybe, we don't know, I mean, we don't know, we're rolling the dice.
Right.
Not knowing what kind of show, I think to keep with the tradition and stay on the 4th, but we gotta even see if we can get on those people's, you know, schedules at this point and what the cost will be. Okay. Jim has something.
oh, I'm sorry.
Is there any way that we can have them pencil us in for the 5th? If we find somebody else, call them up and say, no, we've decided not to, or once we're penciled in,
I
we
think,
can't refuse it.
yeah, I think, I mean, I think we could, but I think we would run the risk of, if we said pencil us in and then say we don't need you. If we go with the new vendor this year and we don't like the product that we receive and we wanna go back to the old vendor, we might not be on the best terms with them at that rate, you know? There's a lot of variables,
Well, the contract goes out, once we give the date, it's within about 14 days, the contract comes and we sign. Because of just what you said. Shopping around, so we have to commit.
Once we're committed, we're committed.
we're committed,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and it makes sense, because it's such a specific holiday.
Right,
Like, everybody wants 4th of July, so I
Right.
get it, but it's because of training, just so the reason this happened is they don't just hire somebody to shoot fireworks, they have an apprenticeship program that they are following along for like 3 years. And then they allow them to do the shoots, but they've become big. COVID threw the monkey wrench again into something else, and that set them back. And at least that's the story they're saying, and I mean, they're great to work with, so I can't imagine it's not true. It's just unfortunate.
Yeah, just unfortunate that they're not a New Hampshire company and we are one of their out-of-state clients.
Right.
I mean, the 4th is Thursday.
Right.
Like he said, people are gonna be here anyways.
You know-
It's not like
Yeah.
we're looking to have it on a Tuesday. And the 4th be on a Thursday.
No, to be honest, I think if any day could be a good follow, it is that Friday, cause it's the
Right.
start of the weekend, you know, people are gonna be here, they're not just coming out, it's not on a random Tuesday where they might not be staying for the Wednesday, or, you know, it does work on our favor in that
This
sense.
year.
But not for years moving forward. I mean, maybe next year too, just because Saturday might be okay too, but once you get into the Sunday, Monday, beginning of the week, that changes people's vacation schedules and, you know, their traveling schedules. You know, and if we are gonna make a change to a new vendor, this might be, you know, the initiation that, you know, we really
So
start.
let's take the time to look and.
Okay.
I emailed you, Karina, several in-state fireworks companies. I sent it to your email.
Okay.
So if you wanna call them tomorrow.
Okay,
How long would it take to get references? Of these other vendors?
Hopefully they'd have a list of
list of towns that
towns
they
that
do
they've
it.
done it for in the last couple of years. And if they haven't, then we don't want them. They haven't done town fireworks, then that.
Right, yeah, cause I do know that there are a lot of, not a lot, but there are more smaller vendors that do like weddings and certain things like that, but they're not the class 3 or class 2 show, whatever there's a certain classification of show that we order, that I think limits the number of vendors we actually have.
I just emailed, texted, Chris Elms, the general manager of Redwood Woods, who oversees the fireworks there, and would tell me the company.
Awesome.
The Mount Washington uses, so, you know,
The more people I can call, the better.
we'll see what happens.
Okay,
Ask
all
them
right.
back.
okay,
Feel free to call or email.
TBD. Okay.
There's any like dilemma face. Go ahead, let's
Okay.
do the next one.
Chenard junkyard violation, the complaint, has been filed in Plymouth District Court. Mr. Chenard should be served the notice shortly. Mr. Chenard's attorney has asked for another site visit. Jason, our attorney, has tentatively set that up for November 29th at 12 p.m. However, if the board feels this is unnecessary, as it is clearly visible that the property is still in non-compliance, he will let Bruce know that we, don't think a site visit is necessary. He expressed that the only one reason to do a site visit would be to officially or formally confirm that the violation still exists.
I mean, all he has to do is drive by.
It's a waste of time.
That's,
It's a-
Agree.
Yeah.
100%.
that's
Well, if
kind
you
of how I
drive, if you
thought.
drive by and it's covered with snow, is it still there?
Yes.
Oh, you're in Florida, you don't have to
You're
worry
in
about that.
it.
I mean, if Bruce Marshall wants to go up and look and see that there's 3 huge tractor trailers still filled with junk and then a pile of junk in front of them, just on the one lot, and then you can go look at the other lots too, but
Mhm.
it's not even close.
That was my knee-jerk
Yeah.
reaction as well, but I said I would pass along the message to the board. So that they make that decision.
Do you think we should take some up-to-date pictures of the site, though? to
I
say,
think we could
"This
do
is it
that.
Today,
I think we could do that in normal business
okay.
hours. We
Rather
could
than
have,
follow
we
up.
could have Ryan Fairbrother go out or
See if
something.
Ryan will go up
Yeah.
and just take some pictures, date them,
Yeah.
keep for the record.
Keep
that's
them
all
on
we
the
need.
record. That's easy enough to do. He's not on the meeting tonight, so I can assign him some stuff.
Good.
David is.
All right, capital, moving forward, capital projects and year-to-date expenditures, enclosed in your packets, you have a year-to-date expenditure that is as of last Friday. Everything, I think, looks pretty good, if you go down the line items, I mean, obviously, there are some individual lines that go over and some individual lines that are under, but I think all in all, we're in pretty good shape to close out the year. With that said, we recently received an invoice from Weston Sampson for the engineering for South Peak Water Tank. This went from February of this year to October of this year. Weston Sampson held off on invoicing us until we had more of a formal commitment from the Forest Service to do the majority of the work. So that's why we're getting this, you know, kind of large bill at the end of the year. I propose that we take this from the 2023 operating budget to help offset the cost of the projects, as we will have remaining funds in the water department. And we know that we are going to have to find additional funds for this project. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I totally think we should do that and even look for other ways to incorporate some of those large capital items
In,
into the operating budget where appropriate. I mean, I know this was brought up at the budget committee last year. Why didn't we do this?
Mhm.
And it's a good point.
Right.
And, you know, I think there could be other water tank or police department,
yes.
or even the Route 3. I don't know how many bills are coming in for that. I know they're doing, they did some
They did
surveying.
some sort of work, very minimal. I did, so Sam Kenny from Weston Sampson, he's doing the water tank project and he's also doing the Route 3. And
Oh,
I
okay, good.
expressed to him that we most likely will have a small surplus this year in our operating budget. So if we could, put, you know, work to date in before the end of the year, that we would like to get some of that paid for out of the 23 budget. And Sam said that he would start working on making sure that, you know, the reconciliation or the inventory that we're doing is, you know, up to date so we can get the bills paid. So,
Okay,
as far as the PD goes, we just signed BPS. We had a little back and forth on the contract and updating the plans because we had some changes to the sewer manhole and whatnot. So I will express that to BPS as well, that anything we can get, you know, I don't want to say front loaded because it's,
Right.
but anything that we could pay for out of this year's budget, we would be willing to do so. And then I was thinking that maybe at a meeting in December, if we needed to move funds around, I know that we'll probably have a pretty healthy surplus in the legal line because we didn't go to court with those two cases this year. That's being put on the docket to 24. I imagine we'll have 50 grand left in that, where we could reallocate that 50 grand to the water department or reallocate that 50 grand to the PD to pay some of those bills and whatnot. So that's on my radar and probably, like I said, at a meeting in December.
okay. I did have a question on the expense.
Yes.
The only thing that really stuck out in my mind was the community building property and maintenance. We had a budget of 60,000. And we only spent like 6,000. So there's a big amount. Now, I know that we put money in there. For some of the bigger projects, because, that gets split, that budget, whole budget gets split with Woodstock. Is there any project that we thought we were gonna do that we didn't do?
So that is for the entryway.
Yeah,
Majority of that's for the entryway. We also encumbered about 30 grand from last year's budget
Okay.
for this. So we have expended the 36 or right in the $30,000 range from the monies we encumbered from the previous.
okay,
Tara is coming in with a request to encumber these funds to pay for the remainder of Blair's work there.
okay.
And also for, I think she had about 9 grand difference that she was going to try to get an invoice for, so we can encumber these funds for that airlock entryway, because she's been having a hard time getting a contractor and the concrete and all that kind of stuff. So yes, there is a huge, I guess, surplus in that line, but it will be slated to be encumbered.
Either spent or encumbered.
You got
before the
it.
end of the- That's what I
Yes.
thought, okay. That was the only question I had.
Okay, also, last thing on my, town manager report for right now is, the 2024 proposed budgets. I did create a packet for you. I think Jane sent you the Excel spreadsheets on Friday. I did update a couple today, so I have a few new ones that I'll put into, I might put everything into the Dropbox, and resend you a link to it, so you can play around with it if you need to. Just because I'll have to remember which ones I already sent, but I did update a few. The only one that is really still outstanding at the moment is personnel administration, because we're tweaking health insurance numbers and retirement and wage and all that kind of stuff. But you do have the bulk of it, that was sent to you on Friday, and hard copy is right there.
Quick question.
Yes,
Jane, what was the name of the company that we currently use for fireworks?
North Star fireworks?
For the fireworks here?
North
Yes,
Star.
North Star fireworks.
So, Chris Elms just got back to me. it's Atlas that they
Yeah,
use.
yeah,
for
Atlas is
invoices.
one of the big
Yeah.
companies,
Yeah,
yeah,
so you can contact them, see what they. cost
sure
you.
will, yeah.
Yeah,
That speaks very highly. of
Yeah.
Great company, so.
Like I said, I'll start making phone calls tomorrow and see what we can do.
right.
And just a reminder on the proposed budgets, we are meeting early in the first meeting in December, on December 4th, we're gonna meet at 4 to do our first, budget workshop.
Right, and Tim, are you gonna be available for that by Zoom? Okay,
Yes, I will be zooming in for that.
all right. All right, a couple of things here. We have notice, intent to cut wood or timber from Loon Mountain. And this is just the tally sheet, there's no dollar amount, it's just how many board feet of this and that.
Yes, that's just their intent.
Oh, you already signed it. What did you do? All right, the agenda for the Pemmy River Local Advisory Committee meeting is been sent to us. I will be going to that, attending by Zoom, I'm not sure, but I will be at that meeting. One way or the other. I have a letter to read sent to the selectmen on the complaint contact, I should say the contact. So it's to whom it may concern, which is the Board of Selectmen. Hello, my name is Jeffrey. I'm a tenant at the depot, and my apartment is directly above the Encore thrift store. For the last month and a half, I've been woken up by the Loon Ministry in their band. I work nights at a restaurant in town, and I don't usually get up until around 11. Every Sunday for the last week, I've been woken up by what sounds like chanting coming from downstairs. I've emailed the ministry, spoken to them in person, and I've also contacted the Lincoln Police Department about the excessive volume of the congregation. Today, I asked them for the 4th time to please be conscious of the fact that their speakers bleed right through my bedroom floor. The request was not well received, and I noticed they actually got louder for the last part of the set. Does the ministry have a permit to put on what is basically a concert every Sunday morning? I'm seriously concerned about this as it's causing me major anxiety and panic attacks. I just want to live in peace, and I feel like my lease terms are being violated, and I'm being forced to listen to someone that I really want nothing to do with. I don't know what I'm supposed to do here, but I can't expect to enjoy my apartment with the band jamming under my head every Sunday morning. Thank you. You weren't aware of that? I didn't see it?
I didn't see that email. I was made aware of it,
Okay.
today.
And have the police talked to them?
I don't know that.
All right.
Yeah.
And I'd be willing to talk to someone down there. I was just over there today, but I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah.
See what's going on.
So OJ, Marcus Corey gave me a quick phone call at about 5 o'clock this evening.
Oh,
He wanted to come in. He knew the complaint was coming and he wanted to come in and speak to the selectmen. However, his girls are flying into Boston today for the Thanksgiving holiday, so he had to drive down and pick them up. He is willing to come into the next selectmen meeting to talk with us if we need him to. He did say that, you know, that he spoke to the gentleman a few times. They moved their speakers to to a different area so it wasn't directly under where he sleeps or whatever. And that their services don't start till 10 a.m. I looked that up online. When they go back to mountaintop services, then the service will start at 9 a.m. But right now it's 10 a.m. And he did say that his wife was ordering like a white noise sound machine and noise canceling headphones or something to try to help alleviate the issue. I mean, they're not being jerks about it. They don't want it to ruin anybody's life or anything. They're trying to come to a peaceful resolution. However, the Jeffrey, I don't know his last name, I'm sorry, doesn't want to go down and talk to them and meet with them. And that's fine, his choice. So I think before we do anything, we should have both parties come in and talk to us, not necessarily each other. I mean, it's not nothing the police can do because it's a, you know, you're not disturbing the police, that is disturbing the peace between 10 PM and 6 AM. And this is after 6 AM. So I don't know. Those are my thoughts.
Well, let's certainly give it time and see if either they can work it out or Marcus wants to come in and talk to us about what they have tried to do or can do or have offered to do, et cetera.
Okay.
I do have two more things that I forgot.
Yep, go ahead. I got two more things too, but you go
Okay.
first.
Just a follow up, from when the fire department was here at the last meeting, we did, enter into a contract with Du Bois and King to do the second round of the structural engineering for the truss system. So they're going to, not only draft those plans and do, go up into the rafters and do a more, I guess, thorough, evaluation of what needs to be corrected up there and then how it needs to be corrected, but they're also going to help us through the construction phase as well to ensure that the contractor or whoever we select does it to their plan spec. So we have entered a contract with them as of last week to do so. Good. So that ball is rolling as well. And they hope to do that at some point throughout this winter. So. And then the only other thing I have is that just a reminder that the town offices will be closed Wednesday through Friday of this week for the Thanksgiving holiday. That's all I have.
I had a couple of things. Town Christmas party.
We are still in the works on that. Riverwalk could not accommodate us. So we are now looking to either head back to the Mountain Club. And I also think that Tammy reached out to One Love to see if we could get an additional price or quote. I don't know if you've heard back from them, Tammy, or no. So
Nope, they ghosted. I never heard a thing back.
So most likely we'll be moving forward with the Mountain Club again.
That's been good.
Yeah.
Excellent.
No complaints.
So we'll get that scheduled and ready to go, just so we can make the announcement to all the employees and staff and volunteers and
Yeah.
whatnot.
You know, the chamber annual meeting was there this year.
Mhm.
And again, the food was top notch, like it always is, so.
Yep. So, so we'll
right.
hopefully get that.
When did you say you were closing town hall?
We're closing Wednesday, Thursday. Well, we're traditionally closed Thursday and Friday, and we close early on Wednesday, but with the impending snow coming in and have a skeleton crew, we're going to close Wednesday as well.
And I know I sent the thing about the FEMA.
Yes, I have that.
Dates.
Yes.
We just need to put that on the calendar, and I don't know if we're ready to do that now. Do you need more time to?
No, I talked to Carol about it, and
Yeah.
Carol was just going to review that all the changes that we thought were going to be incorporated were incorporated, which I believe we did that a couple months back now.
When they sent the
When they sent the
preliminary.
preliminary and whatnot, so we were thinking of putting it on the first in December.
Okay,
It doesn't need to be done until February, so
I
we have
know.
plenty of time, but let's just get it out of the way.
well, that's the thing,
Yeah.
and it has to be a public hearing, I believe, right?
I don't
Or
think,
just a public meeting?
I think it just needs to be a public meeting, and there's specific language that they want us to include in the resolution.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, well, let's do it in December.
Yeah, let's just get it done, so it doesn't fall off
Because
our
I
radar.
just know we get into budget season and budget hearings and ordinance hearing, the changes, so do it. All right, so that's on December. The other thing is a comment came up. And I believe it was a conversation about short-term rentals, but that the town's assessing company does not count bedrooms in basements. Is that true?
This is something that our town planner has expressed. I don't know if it's accurate, to be honest. I would have to speak to Cindy Perkins, who is our assessor at Commonford, Nieder and Perkins, to see if that's 100% accurate. It's hard for me to believe that any ground floor bedroom is not included in the bedroom count.
Well, I know two that are.
Yeah.
And I pay taxes on them. I would like to know what, CNP's,
Responses,
responses. Can we just, like,
yes, simple email.
you know, if they're not counted, is it because they forgot? Is it because they don't meet the technical requirements of a bedroom?
I mean, that may be the case for several of them, maybe potentially, that, you know, you have a basement that, doesn't have the stereotypical things that are in, you know, a bedroom where it's the,
Well, if it doesn't have a closet.
doesn't have a
second
doesn't have a
means-
window,
second
yeah,
means of egress or a window, you can't count it.
you can't count it, so
I mean,
in those
doesn't mean it's not
instances.
used as a bed.
Correct, right, in those instances, that may be the case, we may not be counting that as a bedroom count, it may just be as part of the room count. But as far as anything below grade not being included, I don't know if that's accurate. I do know that also people have a hard time reading some of our assessment cards to identify how many bedrooms and bathrooms and rooms we have, because I know at a prior meeting, and I don't think it was a select board meeting, I'm pretty sure it was a planning board meeting, a property owner came in and said, I'm listed as having 9 bedrooms, I'm listed as having bedrooms, and I pulled up his card while we were at the meeting, and I just didn't want to interject myself, and he had 9 total rooms, 5 bedrooms and 4 baths, and so I think when maybe they weren't reading the card accurately and they were just taking that figure and running with it, so, but I'll get a formal response from Cindy in that regard.
Okay, that's all I want.
Okay.
That's all I have for other stuff.
So,
Tammy, do you have anything?
Nothing, thank you.
Then I will, open it up for public participation. If there's anyone who wants to bring anything, go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, I have a couple questions tonight. So Joe Chenard, I thought he was supposed to be getting fined daily or weekly or whatever for not being in compliance. Is that happening?
Yes, that was the complaint that was filed in Plymouth District Court. That's what we were talking about this evening.
So has he paid any fines to date, or he's filed a court
No.
document?
The way that works is the judge says that we prevailed and we're correct,
Right.
and we can fine him. But we have to file that fine as a, is it called
It's
a
like a
complaint?
civil, it's a civil penalty. It's a
Civil
complaint,
penalty,
yeah.
we have to file that with Plymouth District Court. They have to approve it and then send it to him. So this is the first 6-month bill, and it's like $7,500 it.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit more than that, but yeah, in that
Call
range.
it $7,500, or somewhere in that range. We're filed with Plymouth District Court. They need to approve it before it can go to Joe. If we don't go through this process, we can't file a tax lien. So we have to go through the state rule, process.
All right. I'm just trying to keep up to date with where it was because
Yeah,
it seems like it's been a long time to try and take care of it.
Our goal, Paul, our goal is to file it, to coincide with the property taxes each year. So we'll file it in the spring and we'll file it in the fall. And then essentially we can put liens on in the same fashion we do, other property taxes.
Yeah, it just seems like the town keeps paying a lot of legal money to collect $7,500.
You weren't at the last meeting, but we're hoping that moving forward, I'll be able to file those complaints rather than Jason, our attorney. So, but we wanted him to do the first one to ensure that it was accurate. And then moving forward, hopefully I can file them and, reduce our legal bills.
All right. The other thing I had was, I had talked to Jack Daly about a sign I saw at the solid waste facility about short-term rentals and singling them out. Jack, did you bring that to the board? Did you get any?
No, because you said you were gonna bring it.
Oh, okay. So I'm here. So there's a sign down at the solid waste facility. I'm not sure if it's still there or not. I was there today and I kind of drove right by it without looking. But it singles out the short-term rental group. And I'm not sure that that's appropriate. I think that it should be directed towards anyone who uses the solid waste facility instead of just the short-term rental people that may be in town. We've always done it that way. I mean, it would be, I think, more appropriate to do it that way.
What does it say, Paul? What does the sign say?
It says that something about, and again, I didn't take a picture of it, but short-term rentals need to recycle, or they can't use the facility, something like that. I would have to take, I would have thought that the Board of Selectmen or the town manager, Karina, would know what the sign was that was up there, but there's a new sign. It happened to hit me, the one day I drove in, it was like, it hit me as I was going around the corner by the back of the building where the old metal pile used to be, right in there. And like I said, I just don't think it's appropriate to single someone out. I think it would be better to say that everybody who's using it should recycle and not throw stuff in that way, but.
Well, I guess my question, Paul, is how are short-term renters using the transfer station if we require a sticker to use it?
Well, that would be a question for your manager down there, because they're supposed to be checking them, right?
Yeah,
So-
I guess I'll have to talk to Nate and John and figure out what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, I believe it says Airbnb and short-term rentals, but I mean, it kind of singles it out. And like I said, I just think that anyone who uses it, doesn't matter who you are, you know, or what nationality you are, anything, this is what you need to do to use a facility. You know what I mean? It just seems like we're singling people out, that's all.
In my conversation with Paul was, I didn't feel it was discriminatory. I thought it was more on an educational basis. If they were using it properly, i.e. they received a sticker of again, whether the homeowner's sticker is transferable to somebody that's utilizing their property for a rental, I don't know that. I don't know.
Yeah, but Jack, everybody is welcome to use it. And everybody has to use it based on what the town's rules and regulations are. And that's all it should be. You know, to single somebody out, whether it's a group that rents or it's a group that the ethnicity of them, you know, I mean, it doesn't matter. It should just be, in order to use facility, this is what you need to do. That's all.
Got it.
And you guys can look at it, like I said, when it hit me and it kind of rubbed me wrong. You know, like I said, I'm, you know, I guess I'm getting a little more pro short-term rental these days because I've got one beside me and I don't see a problem with it, but there are people who have them beside them and they're having a hard time. So I just think that it's, you know, it just kind of singles them out. I don't think so. The other thing I had was at town hall.
Oh, wait a minute, Paul, hold on.
Oh,
one
go
second.
ahead. I'm
Please.
sorry.
That's all right. I'll excuse you this time. What we might do is have the owners put something, you know, or even talk to Granicus, which is, you know, funneling these through our system. Just saying that, you know, trash in the town of Lincoln is recycled. And if you have any questions, the owner can provide you with the way that trash should be recycled, i.e.
Correct. Yeah, correct. Correct, Jack. And when people get their permits, I mean, there are several things that happen. I know people who leave their permit at their place and then they bring it down and they recycle. But when you get a permit, you used to also get the rules of compliance, which showed you what you had to recycle. Yep. And if you got a permit, then that means you realized what you had to recycle. So maybe, yeah, you know, for short-term rental people, maybe you just say that in Granicus that they have to supply them with the, however the material needs to be brought down. It just kind of looked like you were singling people out. That's all, and I didn't think that was fair.
Okay, something else?
Yeah, one more thing. We live in the North Country. I know we're having a little snow here on Wednesday, but you know, to close town hall because we got 3 inches of snow coming. I gotta tell you, when I was a kid, they never closed Lincoln schools. I mean, we close town hall now at the drop of a snowflake. You know, it seems like, I'm sorry, but you know, you guys, we pay taxes here. Come on, give us a little break. You know, I mean,
Paul, I'll say this. Since I've been town manager, I think we've closed town hall 3 times. And Wednesday, we traditionally close early anyways because of the Thanksgiving holiday. The community building is closed, the rec department is closed, the solid waste facility is closed. AccuWeather is saying we're gonna get 6 to 10. I don't think it's unreasonable to give.
6 to 10.
That's what AccuWeather is saying. I don't think it's unreasonable to give people a few extra hours the day of a holiday.
Karina,
What? Look at
come
that.
on. Come on, Karina. Look, Linwood, when I was in Linwood, they used to pride themselves on the amount of years they went
That
without
was a long
closing the
time
school.
ago.
And they drive children to school. I'm just telling you. You know,
Make
there's,
your comment.
look, you know, you don't live that far away, you should be able to drive. You know, I mean, it shouldn't take much to open up town hall. Taxpayers deserve to have town hall open. Okay, for 3 inches of snow, 5 inches of snow, it deserves to be open. The guys that are coming in to plow the snow, they come in to plow the snow, so the people in town hall ought to be able to make it in as well. And I'd like to know that are the people who are taking off those early hours, are they using their own personal time, or does the town pay them as vacation?
Well, if there's a snow day and we close early, we pay the employees as if they were there the whole day.
Yeah, okay, so it's a whole nother vacation day, isn't it? Come on. You know, I mean, I understand if there's a foot of snow and you know, we're gonna have a northeaster, but 3 inches of snow in November, it just seems a little, for me as a taxpayer, I gotta tell you, I don't think it's appropriate. And as a taxpayer, I've heard that from other people too, so. You know, people drive around town all over the place, 3 to 5 inches of snow, so I know someone like you have some staff that go over the mountain, over the dale, and they might have a hard time, but they can take a personal day, you know, so.
Noted.
Look, there's a lot of people who pay taxes to use that town hall, and I think that they ought to have the ability to have someone in there.
Well,
Thank you.
Well, one of the things obviously is safety. I mean, you know, when you see the public safety folks saying, you know, please limit traffic on that day because the traffic is gonna be bad, as you know, that's one of the worst traffic days of the year, you know, for travel. So consequently, you know, I mean, safety, if it's gonna be 6 to 10, is a major issue. And like Karina said, it's only a few hours. It's not gonna hurt the town financially, or it's not gonna deter business from coming in. I mean, people that, you know, have an emergency, we have the fire and the police if that's needed, but I think safety is paramount.
Oh, yeah, Jack, I couldn't agree with you more, and you'll probably be able to get up to your house, and I'll bet you and your wife go out all day long. So, you know, look, the public works will be in, the police will be in. You know,
Our essential employees will be here.
you know, I just think town hall should be open. I gotta tell you, I don't see that. I mean, you're gonna close the solid waste facility too, right?
They're traditionally closed on Wednesdays to begin with.
Right. I mean, you know, it is. Look, it just,
All right.
I don't know what, I really don't know what to say, except for, you know, I'm not advocating that someone come in if the conditions are really poor. But I have to tell you that I think that our assertions of what weather really is and what we can travel in today, everybody has SUVs, they've got great tires, I mean, the conditions that people keep the roads open to, from the public works to the state barn, are usually pretty impeccable. I mean, my wife used to travel to Belmont every day, and she made it every day. There was probably one day, I believe, that she didn't make it, and all the years she worked there. So, you know, I gotta tell you, I just think this is, I see it as a big cop out here. I'm sorry, I'm not. And Karina, it's, you know, whoever deserves it, it is what it is. But, you know, come on, people deserve to have you guys working on days when you should be. We all have, they pay for a certain amount of time off, whether it's vacation or holiday, but this is just another, you know, it's the day before Thanksgiving, it's the day before Christmas, it's the day before the 4th of July or whatever. I mean, you know, these things they get open-ended, and they grow. And, you know, taxpayers don't deserve that. And I'm sorry, but it's just how I feel. I pay taxes. My taxes went up, and darn it, I deserve a little more for that. Thank you for listening.
Thanks, Paul. Can I say one thing? However, I agree with Paul that we should be open, and snow is snow, and if we closed every time it snowed, we'd never be open. However, I just looked on the Gray Maine weather station website, and we are forecast to get 5 to 8 inches possible snow. And then before 11 a.m. on Wednesday, then turning to rain with wind gusts up to 20 miles per hour at 35 degrees, which means that it's going to be ice. So I think that not having people on the roads when we have ice, 35 to 38 degrees with wind gusts as high as 20 miles per hour, which means ice. And that's rain on top of the 5 to 8 inches of snow. And the chance of participation is 100%. So it's probably not a bad idea to have anyone not on the roads at that.
All right, I'm gonna thank
No,
everyone.
I just have one.
No.
I have one question for Tammy.
We're not gonna
I
discuss.
have one question for Tammy. How often has the weatherman been right this year?
Okay, Tammy, we're done with this discussion. Is there anyone else who has something to bring to the public? Go ahead.
I'd just like to say I'm a member, or I attend Mountain Industries, and it's a coffee shop. And it's live entertainment. And whether it's has to do with religion or not, I mean, the gentleman needs to understand he lives underneath a coffee shop that can have live entertainment, and I believe that's something that needs to be thought about.
And that's a good point. And that, it just, to add to that, they did go through site plan review with the planning board, and I don't know if they specifically said live music, but they did say it would be a place for gathering, meetings, worship, et cetera, was brought up at the planning board. So with that being said too, though, it'd be nice if neighbors can figure out ways, like if there's something they can do, moving speakers or whatever. So hopefully they'll. Jim?
Is it a big enough area they really need speakers? It's not much bigger than this room. I mean, somebody talk, they don't need a speaker for somebody that's just across the road, across the room.
Yeah, that wouldn't be for us to decide, Jim, as select board members, other than if there was a true noise complaint.
I believe it's not much bigger than this room.
Right, but she's right. We could say that you don't need to have speakers, and you could say, yeah, but look at my planning board approval. We're a coffee
Yeah.
shop, we have meetings, we have church, we have, it'd be better if it was worked out between people calmly without confrontation, and hopefully both sides will be reasonable, because if you have someone making a lot of offers to do something and someone saying, no, we're not gonna do that, or that doesn't work either, so.
And I think too, Jim, that the, ministry is attempting to accommodate the gentleman by possibly getting him at their expense some noise deafening headphones. And they did move some of their seating around. They moved some of their speakers around, so that, they want to be a good neighbor. I mean, their religion, they preach, do unto the neighbor, you'd have the neighbor do unto you. So consequently, they want to live that way. So hopefully they can work it out peacefully.
And there's been several attempts to do so, just really reached out very much to the gentleman.
All right, good, thank you.
Thanks, Greg.
Is there any other public comment, participation? Did our high school student enjoy our meeting tonight?
Yeah.
This is something different for you?
Yeah, I like it.
Oh, great, we do it every 2 weeks. So, do we have anything non-public?
I don't have anything in non-public,
Okay,
unless you have something.
no, I don't. Motion
I'll
to
make a
adjourn?
motion to adjourn.
All right,
Second,
all those in favor? Aye.
Happy
Aye.
Thanksgiving.
happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
Bye, Tammy.
Aye. Have a good Thanksgiving, everyone.
You as
You
well.
too.
Enjoy some of that sun.
Yeah,
Oh, I am.
how many inches are you getting down there? on
Yeah.
Thursday
how many-
morning?
Yeah. Well, it was like 82 degrees today, so I don't think it's gonna snow.
It was like 32 degrees today.
Oh, yuck.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Have a good day. Bye, Tammy.
Take care, everyone. Good night.
Bye.
She's just